What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Tobu Fitness Podcast. We're doing a live recording again. Got Manny Eckert here from Seattle Sockeye helping me out, and we've got our special guest, Brett Huslmeyer. Brett, thanks for being here.
How's it going?
Brett, I know you. I was doing my research before this. Got a pretty extensive resume with pro, club, and then the world's teams as well. Do you mind giving people just a little bit of background on yourself?
Yeah, I've been playing for Hustle since my first year was 2019. I think this is my sixth year playing. I made for the USA mixed team last year, played with them in Australia. And then this year I'm on like beach and I'm an alternate for the World Games team. And then, been playing chain since 2021. Before that, the old Huntsville Freaks days, but yeah, I think that's I guess like college. I played for UH until 2020, and then I went to grad school at Auburn and played the sixth year there in 2022.
Nice. When you having to balance like the world's scale, right, club and pro, like I imagine you're traveling around a lot, like, and you're playing frisbee pretty much all year long. And then I'm sure even with college, it was the same, like frisbee year round. How do you balance that?
This year I think was even. I like the last 2 years have been kind of weird with it, because like it's been the tryouts in like early March, end of February. Like so this year, I basically didn't stop training. Like so we ended nationals, had beach tryouts like 2 weeks later, and then I like took I think maybe like 3 days off and then was like right back into like training for World Game stuff because the first tryout for that was like the first weekend of February, I think. Yeah. So I mean that's like it's hard, but I mean like you like I'll get it this year. I'll get that off season this year. And you get it every once in a while, but I don't know. You like training doesn't feel like it's as like taxing as like the in the season stuff. So I don't know. I never feel like that bothered by it. It's kind of the lifestyle that you do. But yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it's hard, man. Like you play. I mean, I've been playing. I can't remember. I guess July 4th was the last weekend I had off. Then before that was in April.
Wow.
You
Yeah. What feels like, I guess, super different about this year? Like, obviously, you're playing more, there's not as much rest, but is there anything that you've really noticed that you maybe didn't expect would be as hard?
Um, I mean, I think the I don't know. I don't think it's been that hard. I like because I moved this year. I thought that would kind of be like a lot of complication, but it was actually super easy. Had no like issues there, and like yeah, I mean, I think like I was a little nervous about trying to balance the World Games and like UFA season, but it actually just hasn't been a problem at all. I had one conflict, I had to miss like our away Chicago game, but otherwise, been not that bad.
So you mentioned earlier you felt like training in 2020 really helped you take the next step as an ultimate player. How has your training progressed over the years, and what does your routine typically look like?
So I mean, like before I started playing frisbee, I played soccer like my whole life. And also my real like cheat code is that my mom is a personal trainer. So like I've had her making like workouts, like both field and like lifting stuff since I've like been, since like I was running with her when I was like 3 or something, you know. When she like, oh sorry, she also used to be a bodybuilder, so that helps. um yeah, so I think that's like, helped a lot. But my training routine is kind of adapted more to be like I kind of tend to think about like what I need to actually work on. So like, this last like winter, I was like basically entirely sprint speed was all I was trying to like push because I was like, that is the like thing I need to be like for World Games is that like, I have to be like the best defender I can possibly be to try and make that team. And like it's just if I get like a half step, that's the margin at that level to like, being kind of bad at defense and really incredible at defense.
Yeah, I saw your because I saw like Team USA was doing all those like little individual videos and all the players, and I saw yours where you talked about like at this world scale, or especially with like Team USA, you want to be able to challenge players to like do things that maybe they never had to do, like push people out that maybe have never been pushed out. Um, so when you were like focusing on increasing your sprint speed, like, yeah, did you find that helped, or were there other things that like you didn't think would be as impactful that maybe were?
Do you mean like from a training perspective?
Yeah, or maybe even just like your speed improved, but you realized like this, like something else was also important.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like the biggest change for me this year, well, really like I feel like I was learning it last year, is like how to play this like aggressive positioning on defense to like, like to force like the play to happen where I want it to happen. Whether like, if I'm a big person, so if I have to like change, like move my hips and like, completely change direction and go like behind me, I'm gonna get beat almost every time. Like that's the like slowest place I'm gonna be. So like really trying to like shift it to where, okay, the play is like where I can be laterally fast, or like, it's right in front of me and it's just a dead sprint. So I think that's been a big change for me. Like I'm trying to like draw it out, but like rather than like playing traditional defense where like you're on like, you're horizontal from them, just being like straight up vertical with someone to like push them into like a space where you can see where the play is gonna happen. And I'm gonna be like, cool, I know where it's going. I can commit to that and like get there instead of like, oh, I have to like do a lot of like change of direction.
I'm always interested too, like, so that kind of like realization that you had, did that come from just like going to those practices and training camps and like realizing that yourself, or like how much of that was also maybe like the coaching staff, either with like Hustle Chain or the Team USA staff?
Yeah, I mean that's certainly how Matty Zhang wants people to play defense. He like really commits to this like, we're gonna like force out and like you are gonna like force it to go deep and you're gonna make the play. So I mean that's like that helped a lot that's like the way he wanted it to happen. But I think I was kind of doing that the year before because like I kind of was like thinking about um I just like people don't hook on my like to my person enough. Like, I should like you want to like get there's like a right amount to get beat deep, right? It's like, there's like a percentage where it's probably the right amount. So I was like, they just never throw it. And I want them to throw it sometimes because they might miss or something. So like that's kind of the adjustment that it started with, where I was like trying to figure out how I get that to happen more, where I can like make more plays because like, I mean I don't know if y'all watched the US Open game yesterday, but we watched two teams that were really great at moving the ball, like and just like hitting under, swinging, like playing dominator. Like they're just not going to turn it over doing that. So you have to like make them do something that they don't really want to do. And like, you know, not that they don't want to throw an open huck, but like, sometimes you have to like show an open huck and like try and take it away. So that was like kind of where it started last year of like, how do I put myself in the position to make a play rather than like, cool, we're going to have to like figure out how to stop this like really great movement that the other team has.
Real quick, going to talk about the sponsor of today's episode, which is myself, Toby Fitness Coaching. What I offer is completely individualized coaching plans. So these are going to be customized for your individual needs, whether that's your goals on the field or your injury history, your schedule from the off season or in season, any equipment you have, any specific other things you have. This program is completely customized for you. there's a lot of communication and adjustments that are going on. So this isn't something where I'm just sending you out an 8-week plan, telling you go have fun, then we check in 8 weeks, but we're constantly checking in, communicating, getting that coaching aspect of it so that we can adjust the program for you, make sure that we are accelerating your progress as best as possible. If this sort of individualized coaching sounds good for you, then check out the link below, or you can check out the link in my bio on Instagram for a little bit more information on that. Otherwise, let's get back into the episode.
Manny, did you have any follow-ups on that?
Yeah, little bit different. So you've always been a good athlete, having athletic genes and playing sports growing up. What did you feel like was a difference for you athletically, or like how did you train differently going from soccer to ultimate? Like, what are the physical tools that you had to train differently for?
I mean, soccer mostly is like it's like a distance almost conditioning. Like you have to be fast and you have to sprint, but like you're kind of constantly moving. Um, and like, you know, a lot of the way you minimize movement playing soccer is by like, you know, jogging to the exact right spot you're supposed to be in, like kind of never stopping to move, but like you're trying to like, okay, you know, how do I end up where I'm supposed to be and I don't have to like run around or I'm going at the right time. And frisbee is more of like it's like an intense all out like, you know, oh, like I'm gonna play super hard for a minute and a half, and then like rest. So like training wise, I mean that's the way I do lifts. I do like supersets where you do like a bunch of different stuff and then you rest. And then you do a bunch of stuff hard and you rest. I think that kind of trains your body to be like, this is how I, you know, am ready to just recover even. Because like I kind of think about that where like, I mean, like I feel like I have great conditioning, but I get tired in like a super long point. Like I get that minute and a half or minute off in between a point, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I can go again. Like always ready because that's the way I've been training for kind of years now.
Yeah. What kind of supersets do you like? Because I like that a lot.
I mean, a lot of times I do like, I've been doing like kind of more like heavy lift, more functional movement, and then like agility type thing. That's a lot of what it's been recently, like the last year. So like, I mean, the first example I'm thinking of is that I like will do like split squats, weight like with just like a barbell, and then do like some kind of jumping squats, and then you do like fast movement over like just jumping over like just a plate on the ground. Doesn't have to be high at all. Just to kind of like you're kind of transferring from this like, okay, I'm working on like something that I would never do in a game, which is like doing a split squat. And then I'm doing something, okay, I would jump on 2 feet. And then I'm bouncing on my like single leg, which is you're doing all the time. You know, I think that's the kind of way I think about it, that I'm trying to transfer it like, okay, how do I, you know, make what I'm lifting actually matter?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I think like how I think about it is like take whatever's the heaviest and slowest and then just slowly make it faster, right? And then
Yeah.
rest and like you're saying, go back. Uh,
Mhm.
the other point that you brought up that I liked as well is like during a point you're going to get tired, but then it's how quickly you can recover between the points. I think is the biggest thing that tells you how good somebody's conditioning is. Because I'll have like a lot of clients, especially in season now, like they'll have a tournament, there'll be like, Justin, like I think I need to get my conditioning up because like I played a long point and I got tired, or like when I play Savage, I got tired, and I'm like, so does everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like if you aren't tired after that, then you just probably weren't playing hard enough, right? But yeah, to your point, it's like you're going to get tired, but it's like if you need 10 minutes after a point to recover versus if you need a minute to recover after a point, like that's very telling of how conditioned you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Sorry, I was gonna ask one more question about training, and then we could jump to the YouTube comments.
let's do it.
So you mentioned you made a huge jump between like 2019 and 2021. Would you say that was because primarily of your physical training, or were you able to work on other aspects of Ultimate and become a more complete player throughout that time?
I definitely think like, I've always been grinding film. I mean, like, even when I like started playing, like I was grinding film. I think like I got to do that more intentionally, like because you kind of had to. Um, I definitely think the lifting helped because like, I went from like being kind of scrawny to not like wasn't like I think I was like maybe, you know, 200. And then like there was a point in 2020 when I was 245. So I got a lot bigger and then cut weight, and I think that like helped a lot. Just like to and I think also the biggest thing that I think about now is that I'm like I did a lot of injury prevention stuff then, because like you just don't think to do that much when you have less time, when you're like, okay, I get like 2 lifts a week, and I'm trying to like push myself to like be faster or jump higher. I'm not thinking as much like, okay, how do I not, tear my knee ever? Can I say that now? It's gonna happen or something. But like I think that's helped me because I haven't had like I tore my patella tendon in 21, but otherwise haven't really had like anything serious that's like kept me off the field. It's been really nice. I think that helps a lot too because I get so many reps. So like you're constantly learning.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Like people want to train for the things that are more visible, but like injury prevention is pretty much always the most important thing to train, because if you are not injured, then you're, like you said, you're getting more reps and just being very consistent about your training and playing over a long period of time. And consistency is like the most important thing for getting better at anything. Let's look at some questions from YouTube. Mike Kobira, is that how you pronounce that?
Kobira.
Kobira. He asks, which of the 4 mics on Hustle is your favorite?
Oh gosh.
Maybe you could rank all 4.
Oh,
Ooh, that's good.
okay. I like. Is he counting Michelangelo as a mic? Yes, maybe. That's funny.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know if he is. It's hard. I think I do have to go Fairley as number 1 for me. I love Fairley. I love playing with him. And I do still remember playing against him when he was on the everybody hated Florida teams. Those were, and like it's fun to like play with him after that, Kabira's funny, man. He's up there for me. He's up there. I think I might have to. I don't know if he's counting Michelangelo, but I'm gonna count Michelangelo. I'm gonna say that he's number 2 for me. I love Milo. He got hurt this weekend, which was sad. He was playing like 6 defense. He's got the most drip on the team. Yeah. Kobe's 3, for sure. And sorry, Poe. You're working your way up there, buddy. You're like, it's just like, I we'll talk. It's okay.
A very candid response. I appreciate that. John Shelley asks, which matchup are you most afraid of at regionals, and why is your answer John Shelley from Bank?
Regionals.
Is your answer John Shelley?
No, my answer is definitely somebody who's on the Huntsville team, because they all know me and they're all like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get him," and like they might like lay out into my knees. That's the biggest fear for sure at regionals.
Do people from Huntsville talk a lot of shit to you now?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, a non-troll question for Mike. What's a recent trick/skill/style that you've stolen from a teammate or opponent that you don't think you would have discovered on your own?
I do that, which is funny that he says that. I think that I've said that in the past, that I like tend to like watch film and like just like watch the way somebody does something and like just like take it and be like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing that. I think like it was in like a World Games practice that I saw like Grant Lindsley do this thing like where like somebody started to like attack like as the reset, like attack forward, and instead of like, you know, going with them and like, you know, absorbing the contact and going with them, he literally just like stood there and leaned into it and just like stopped them from moving. And I was like, wow, that's like really hard to get past. So I've been trying to do that, but like it's hard because sometimes you just get like slipped, you get
Yeah,
thrown.
I saw a clip of someone trying to do exactly that, and then he just kind of missed, and then
Yep.
he just stood there while
It
the
can happen.
offense
It's, I mean, it's a
ran right
dangerous
past him.
tactic. It's a dangerous tactic because sometimes, so I mean, like it's, you're kind of taking the 50-50 chance of either you like completely clamp them or you get like you're just gone.
Yeah, but if you guess right, it's like you kill all their momentum,
Yep.
and then you know they're trying to get it backwards, but then you can guard that pretty easily, and then they're just kind of clogging the reset space. So high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
In that same vein, who's a player you feel like you've learned a lot from watching on film over the years? It's like a Misha Freystad, someone who's comparable to you, or do you feel like you're trying to watch maybe people who are less like you and learn from them?
I actually tend to like watch the people that are less like me. Back in the day, it was John Stubbs because like I don't know, I just like he had like such a complete game. And so I mean, I like still look for like the flick shimmy a ton because like I was watching John and I was like, wow, he just opens up that space like instantly with the shimmy. So I definitely think John, even though I think it's funny because I've played so long with him now, that I think we're incredibly different players like these days because John is more of like a I like classify two types of players as like like vibes players and like system people. And I think I'm definitely more on the system side now. John is like the maximum vibes player. Like where he's just kind of like the whole idea is like to go out there and just play and we'll figure it out. And instead of like we have this exact plan, here's exactly what we're gonna do. Trying to think recently more. I don't know. I feel like I don't do it as much as I used to, because I feel like I'm too much trying to like nitpick the stuff that I do myself now, which is maybe not good, but
Well, you probably have a lot more film available of yourself nowadays than
is true.
basically ever before.
That is true.
Follow up on that. Do you, this isn't from YouTube, but are there teams from your experience that you've noticed are a lot more vibes based versus a lot more systems based?
Yeah, Pony has always been a vibes team, and then this year I think it's changing because of Ben and Anders. Yeah, that they're you know, they're figuring it out a little bit more and like having some more strict system. I don't know, but I suspect Rhino was more of a vibes team last year. Truck,
Brown's
super
definitely a
system
vibes
team.
team. I asked Will Laurie this exact question after nationals. We did a film review for Rhino, the Rhino truck game, and I asked him his perspective on is offense like are the best offensive teams more system based or more vibes based? And I mean, answer was it depends.
Yeah, I mean,
Depends
like
on the
both
players.
can work. We've
Yeah.
seen that both like back-to-back years, you know, both worked.
A couple more from YouTube. From Shelly again. There's a misalignment with hustle and chain results with comparable rosters. What do you attribute that discrepancy to?
I mean, I think the last few years, if you think about like it is actual rounds, like we've been losing in the same round, like Chain losing quarters, Hustle's been losing in the like divisional finals. And I like, I don't know. I think that number one, I think club is harder for sure. Like, you know, you get to like, I mean, those quarters games are like, those are insanely tight games. It's, you know, like one or two plays.
Even pre-quarters.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
yeah.
unless you're a top 3 or 4 team going to nationals, you're not going to have any remotely easy games.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And I think like, you know, in the UFA, you still have some easy games, even though our schedules the last few years have been crazy where we don't have any easy games basically. And I think like, I definitely think we're a team that tends to be better at offense, even like in club and UFA. And like, I think it matters, like your offense matters a little bit more in UFA and your defense probably matters a little bit more in club. So I think that helps for sure. I mean, also, I mean, there's like, you know, we don't have Austin this year for Jane Hurts because we have to fill in someone as like the center handler. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think of it as like that different results because like, yeah, maybe like you look at the regular season for Hustle and you're like, wow, they're like, you know, doing great, which I mean, we did great again this year, but we have to change the end result for it to actually feel like we did better, you know?
For sure.
I'm really curious why you view offense as more important in pro and defense more important in club.
I mean, I just think you should score basically every time in UFA on offense.
Yeah.
Like the field's huge. Like there's, you know, it's just like, you know, when you like think about like completing a swing in like the UFA, you like you hit the middle and you're like, oh, I have 30 more yards I can go. Like it's, I mean, it just is like so impossible to like guard somebody in that much more space. Um, and then like in club, I just think because of the like size of the field and like, you know, the way end zone offense is harder and everybody plays this like switchy, you know, defense in the end zone, like, you know, you actually like having like the ability to like get blocks in there matters way more. Like, whereas like UFA, you just aren't. Like if they get to the red zone, it's just so hard that the I think the size of the field is probably the biggest reason why I think that.
Yeah, I wonder what the break rates are in pro versus club.
It's actually probably not that different on average, but I think that's just because people aren't as optimized to like playing the like on the big field.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, we don't like people don't think about like, oh, I think Shred is maybe the only team that's like, you know, we are focused on how do we play offense on this big field, not how do we play good frisbee.
Mm-hmm. How would you rank club and pro for yourself in terms of enjoyment? And I'll throw in college in there as well.
I definitely think club is like going to tournaments is like the most fun. I like there's if like yeah, I had to pick playing one club game or like one UFA game, I would probably pick playing one UFA game. But yeah, I think club, I like the vibes of going to a tournament are amazing. And like, if, you know, I think more for me now that like, I think of the prestige of winning club is like higher because I think it's more of like your all your peers that care about club more. Whereas like, you know, UFA is like, I mean, it's targeted at like garnering fans, which is awesome. And like, I love like that. That's why I would pick playing one of those games over playing a club game. But I just think like if I had to pick winning one, it would still be club.
Brett, this is the question that I told you about on Instagram. I think this is the same person coming in and asking it on YouTube. So shout out Lord Peaches for this, but they want to know what your mile time is.
Oh God, I don't know. Right now, I have no idea. But I think it was like last year. So there's like a guy in Huntsville who used to run these like 5:30 a.m. workouts. His name's Mark Olam. Plays on a Grandmasters team now. He's like been training and doing that for like 3 times a week every year. So you used to do those workouts with him all the time. And he like all his goal every year was to break 5 in the mile. And like last year, I think last year was the first time he ever missed it at 39, which is like super impressive.
Yeah, that
But
is.
I remember like I think it was just last year. I trained a little bit with him in 23 trying to do it, but like I was trying to like pace set for him to like break it last year because it was like harder. So I know that I have like broken 5 recently, but like I don't know. I have no idea right now.
What were those?
I mean, running a sub 5 mile is extremely impressive.
Yeah. I feel like I was not like saying like,
Especially if you're not even really training for it.
I mean like I was kind of semi training for it just because like I was trying to work with him.
What were those workouts like? Like an average workout with him?
I mean, so like, if it was in the summer, we would do like maybe 20 to 30 minutes of like, field work stuff and then play mini. But in the winter, it's just dark. And so you just do field workouts. I mean, we do a bunch of different types of stuff, like plyo type stuff sometimes, some band stuff, some like conditioning stuff, track workouts, all different stuff. Sometimes he runs distance. Yeah. I miss it a little bit now because when I do like field stuff, I have to make it up all on my own. And it's always really nice, and you can go out and somebody's just like, all right, here's exactly what we're gonna do.
Your mom doesn't still write your workouts for you?
No, not anymore.
Dude, shout out your mom though, and just moms in general for being awesome. What's helped the most in getting better in small spaces?
I mean, this is not great advice, but I got tall late. And so I think that's like always helped me. Because like I had to learn how to like be an athlete and then at like 5'8", and then like, in 1 year I grew up like to like 6'4". And so, it took a little bit to figure it out, but then it's like, oh yeah, you still have like all the fundamentals of like being a like, average size athlete. And then I mean, I think I'm like very like particular about it where I'm like, oh yeah, I need like this is gonna be the weak area for me. So that's the stuff I need to like train all the time. And then like just like in general thinking about that from like just frisbee, like I played on UH where you had to like guard whoever because like you're playing college, you guard the best player if you're the like best defender in your team, even if that's like a smaller handler or like whatever, and you have to like do whatever your team needs. If I need to be back there like trying to like run dig cuts to just like get the ball, that's like you have to like get challenged in all those different ways.
Uh, do you think European/Canadian teams do anything better or different than American teams?
I don't feel like Canadian teams are all that different. I thought last year at Luck, the Canada mixed team did some interesting stuff where like, I mean, like it seems like obvious, but they just like isolated Mika a ton at the cone. And we're just like literally everyone like got out of the way. And like it's really hard to like guard in that space, which I thought was interesting. And like almost nobody else was doing that. Everybody else was running like more traditional, like, oh, we like play a normal end zone. And they were like, we're gonna expose this like aspect of mixed. That was interesting. And then I don't know, the European teams, I think they like from this weekend, I mean we played Mooncatchers and this Italian team, La Volta, and they were like, Moon plays very much like a good American team where they like try and like they actually kind of play like old school revolver where they like, try and isolate in big spaces and like, you know, send people on these like long cuts. Like you probably like see Don scoring, but like you don't see the work before where he like makes this big cut, like going around, back under, and then back deep. And it's like, oh, this is like really hard to guard. Um, and I don't think as many American teams run like that anymore because kind of we think too much about like, oh, well, they're gonna switch and they're gonna do this. And like when you play teams that don't switch, it's pretty effective. And then the Italian team, I think they just like they hit inside windows so well. I think that was the biggest thing. We were even like our notes before the game were like take away inside windows. And then we had to be like, okay, we have to like change. We can't go force middle because they're just still hitting the inside windows.
Yeah, I feel like when I've seen European teams play against American teams, or when I've played against European teams, the throwing creativity really stands out to me. Like when Sockeye lost to Mooncatchers at Worlds a few years ago, it was like we were just not ready for the windows that they were going to hit, especially on hucks. And if they are hitting, it's like there's nothing you can do.
Kind of in line with what you were saying, end zone ISO on UP. Do you want to be throwing the goal or cutting for it?
Kind of depends where it is on the field. If it's on the like four side, I think I want to be cutting for it. If it's on the like flat side, I think I want it in my hands.
I like it. And then another one from Mike. Shout out Mike. A lot of questions. Defensively, do you want to be the mark guarding the 1v1 or the help? I assume probably like UP scenario too.
I think guarding the 1v1. That may have not been the case a while ago, but I feel pretty confident in my like reset small space defense right now.
Nice. Cool. We got through all the YouTube questions real quick for all the listener or everybody that's watching now. Thanks for all the questions. We've got a list of questions from YouTube or from Instagram and from Reddit that we'll be going through with Brett. But anybody that's here, leave your questions in the chat and then we'll get to those quickly. So those will take priority. This is Manny. I said I was going to get to this one early and we haven't got to this one yet. And I think it's a good time for it. Brett, what's your biggest hot take in Ultimate?
Oh, I feel like maybe I've said this to people before, but I think it's playing like when you're with the wind, unless it's truly a horrific wind, playing zone is worse than playing person. Because like what is the proper way to like beat a zone is to like throw and move and like never throw it farther than like 5 to 10 yards. So like much easier like to just throw that short when you're like playing in the wind. So like a ton of teams will always go like play zone, like downwind, like with the wind. Whereas if you just played like super tight person, they're just gonna like throw a loose pass eventually, or like you force them out. Like hucks will just be like high or sit up. I mean, obviously, I think there's some merit to like having a great zone, but I think a lot of teams will just be like, "Oh, we have to run zone. We're with this wind," and it's kind of like playing into what the offense should do.
That is a funny take from you coming from Atlanta, because Hustle and Chain are so known for playing zone.
Yeah, but it's not like a zone that's like designed for the wind. It's more like a zone that's designed to make you like think about everything you're gonna throw.
Mm-hmm.
We got another one from YouTube. If there were an ultimate combine similar to the NFL combine, what would some of your top exercises / drills be to judge a player's skill?
I definitely think you want you probably want a 40, right? Because like you just want to see like top speed. You probably want like, some type of agility, like a T drill for sure. And then like you time that. Um, I feel like you gotta have some type of like, you know, I don't even know if you want like a hitting like a window, like where like a quarterback is like, rolling out and like hitting a pass. Maybe you want that where you're just like, oh, it's just like a flat mark, and you're like, you have to throw this inside to this person coming across. You just like see how many reps you can like hit out of like 10. That would be kind of interesting. And you like do the same thing with an around. So you can kind of get a little bit of their like consistency as a thrower rather than like, what their like top level is. I don't know. I don't know how you like, I guess this is probably a problem for an NFL combine too, where you like test like defensive, you know, awareness. Cause I think that's like a huge thing where it's like, can you like predict where somebody's going to cut to? I don't know. I feel like it would end up being a lot more offensive focused, which is sometimes not what you're looking for.
Yeah, I feel like an ultimate more so than in most sports, the awareness aspect is so important because there are so many players on the field at once. And like in football, there are also a lot of players on the field at once, but it's kind of easier with a prescribed play every time to isolate like one-on-ones. And then ultimate, it's like since the flow is just continuous, you have to be so in tune with what the other 13 players on the field are doing and like have such good habits to respond to so many different situations.
Yeah.
Is that what hustle tryouts look like?
I think, yeah, they do kind of more traditional, like kind of like an NFL combine where they do like a vertical test. They do like a 40. They do T drill for sure. I think they do like 5-10-5s as well. And then like a break mark thing. And then they also have like I don't know, it's like reaction drills where like it's, one person's on offense, one person's on defense, and they have like the like Velcro straps like connecting people. You're like trying to juke and get past. Yeah.
So what's your 40 time?
The last one I did was in 23. Ran a 4.6. Pretty good.
Is that laser time?
It was.
That's good.
Yeah, that's solid.
How about vertical?
No idea. I don't remember. I was also, I think, when I still had when I was recovering from like my patella tendon. So I don't think I think I was sprinting fine, but jumping was not. I maybe backed out of that one because I don't remember it.
I'd be interested in what your 40 is now then, if that was when you were recovering from the patellar tendon.
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty similar because I think I'm a little heavier now. But yeah, I don't know.
Now, with hustle, I don't know how involved you are in this process, but when they do like the combine like stuff at tryouts, how much of that info and data are they using to then make roster decisions?
I think it matters because like sometimes you have like a feel like when you watch somebody you're like it's actually hard to tell like in the game if somebody is like fast or something. And I think especially with hustle we like to take risks on like because like you can take a bigger roster in like UFA. We like to sometimes take risks on people that are like may not know how to play frisbee that well, but like we're like, oh, you've got like the physical attributes to like be something special. So like let's take a risk on that and like see if we can teach you how to play frisbee. So I think that matters sometimes because like again, like Manny was saying, where like you have to have so much awareness. Sometimes like your speed doesn't show because like you're not sure where the play is going to be. You never like run full speed in a game.
I would assume too with the UFA fields, because it's so much bigger, like somebody who's a lot more athletic might be able to shine. Like I can think of certain players
Sure.
who like are really good in the UFA, and then you don't hear about them that much in club, and it's because they're like athletic freaks, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely a factor for sure that like, the, longer you have, like the more time you have to like make up steps, the more it matters how fast you are.
Yeah.
A couple more questions from Reddit. If you could force the entirety of Ultimate to play one offensive system, O for split side, hex, etc., which one would it be and why?
I mean, I think like, side is like pretty fun, right? Like you'd have basically this like, you know, very huck heavy game. Um, I don't know. It's probably horizontal. It's the more like pure game. I think it's like, and I think it fits the best for every division too. Um, so it's probably horizontal. I think just because like it's an incredibly adaptable offense, where like it can turn into this like blob side stack, or in the middle it can turn into a split stack. It's just I don't know. I guess I don't think that much about offenses being like a structure that much anymore, other than like Vert is like obvious, when you're like a center stack. Otherwise, everything is kind of like, oh, you just like get out of the space that's being attacked.
So are you evolving more into a vibes offense guy from a system guy?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just like I don't think of it like I think it's just like no matter what system you're running, like there's like a bunch of principles that are like the same.
Totally. Couple questions about World Games here. Can you share your experience through the World Games tryouts experience? What was the hardest part? What was the most exciting? What are the parts of this process we don't see?
I mean, the first tryout was pretty fun. Lots of people there. I think it's like 75 at the first tryout. So it's like, a lot more playing. And so you play like a lot of like isolation, where it's like 4v4 on the whole field, something like that. Yeah, I think the first tryout is more like, proving that you can like play like big space defense. Um, and because like most people make that tryout by being good offensive players. Like, most like not everybody gets there just because they're a great defender. Um, and then like, they want you to prove that you can play defense. I think the second tryout is more interesting because it's like Maddie treats it like half like a practice, where he starts teaching things, and like you're kind of like seeing how well people can like learn to play the way he's trying to get the team to play. Yeah, I mean, like the process is really hard as a player. I mean, you like go into this like, oh, like, everyone leaves the first tryout thinking they not okay, maybe not everybody. Some people probably leave being like, oh, I played terrible or something, but almost everybody, because we're all great players and everyone makes plays, you leave the first tryout being like, I should be at that second tryout. And then almost everybody leaves the second tryout being like, I should be on the team. So it's like really hard, like as a player, like, you get this like feedback. Like, I mean, I thought I played like one of the best weekends I've played at that second tryout, and I'm like not on the roster, like, and it's hard. Um, I think that's the thing where it's like, um, most people like at the like top end they haven't had to like experience this, which I think a lot of other players like throughout the levels of frisbee experience all the time. They go to a tryout, feel like they played really well, and then don't make a team. Like this is like it's like one of the first times people like who are some of the best in the world experience that. think it's hard for them mentally, where they're just like, I've put in all this work. I trained from the end of nationals to this tryout, and then to the second tryout, and then like to get disappointed is like, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, totally.
A quick follow up on that. So I heard Quinn Finer talking about on his podcast how uh, he feels like the tryout process, or I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he feels like there shouldn't really be a tryout process because there's plenty of film available on at least the players that are going to that tryout, right there. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think the biggest, I mean, I say the biggest thing for the first tryout was defense. Really, for the MMPs, it's can you play mixed? Like that's the biggest thing for the MMPs is like there are straight up people who showed up at that first tryout, are sick players, just couldn't play mixed. And you're just like, yeah, man, sorry. You can't make this team if you can't play mixed. Um, yeah, I mean that's like certainly a factor, and then that you need to like see people playing like this super high level mixed, and then I mean I don't know, I just don't know that you get as much look, like because I mean we played Rhino last year and I guarded Henry 1 point, but if you go to a tryout, I'm going to guard him 9 or 10 times, so you get like 10 times the volume of like the specific matchups you're looking at. And then, I mean, overall, the 2% that's going to separate like the best people is going to be your consistency over like a whole tryout. But I think that's probably why there needs. I definitely think there should be a tryout. And now I mean, like I've talked to Maddie about this, so I feel comfortable saying that. Like, I think the way the team should be like, phrased, I guess, could be different, and that might be a lot more helpful to people. But otherwise, I think the tryout is necessary.
What do you mean by raised? Like selected?
Yeah, sorry. Like, it's just. I mean, I think like Matty is the coach. He should pick the team that he thinks is going to win, right? And I think it's framed as like we are going to pick the 14 best players, which like you might leave the tryout being like, well, those weren't the 14 best players on that tryout weekend. But if like Maddie went and said, I'm going to pick the team that I think is going to win, which he should do. He's the coach. You wouldn't want him to pick a team that he doesn't think is the team that's going to win. I think it brings a less, like for the players, it brings less like of an evaluation of yourself and more like, okay, hey, like how do I be more of the thing that helps this team win, rather than like, wow, I thought I was really good. Maybe I'm not, as good as I thought I was, type of thing.
You pretty much just touched on this next question, but I'll ask it anyway if you have any more thoughts to share. Harder question. Watched Christian Boxley at the U.S. Open this weekend, and his absence in the Final 14 is quite possibly the biggest miss USAU has ever made in rostering this squad. Low-key, one of the most effortless and elegant games in the business, even though the toughest matchups, including Don DeMarais this past weekend. Understanding a lot of variations of the best US 14 will take home gold. What are the nuances to the selection process we're missing, and is it possible some biases were at play?
I mean, certainly there's like biases, and I think that's fine. Like I kind of like, I mean, I think that's part of your acceptance as a person that that doesn't make that 14 roster. I mean, I think for Box, I think the biggest thing I learned from like, being an alternate and playing with him is how good he is at defense. He like, I don't know if y'all know like Marty Gallant, who's this younger Canadian guy. There's like a point where like Marty is cutting for like 20 seconds and Boxley absolutely locks him up and like generates a turnover, just like basically on his own. Like no one else had to play defense. And I mean, yeah, I think he's insanely good. I just like, I mean, I think if anything, that tells you how hard the decision is to take. I mean, yeah, like I think there's a spot for bots on that team, but it's hard.
Would you say I feel like whenever I have entered a new level of ultimate playing, throughout my ultimate playing career, like immediately I'm kind of blown away by the things that I immediately learn. Was there anything that blew your mind about that you learned on the World Games team from the coaches or from the other players, either like something strategic on the field or something off the field about team building that really stands out to you?
Team building wise, I think is actually the biggest. I think it's just like how intentional they are. I think this was the case last year for WUC too. I just didn't know that's the like way it's supposed to be. I thought that was like a unique experience. But yeah, I mean they're like incredibly intentional about like, oh, we are gonna like do these things for each other. We're gonna like set this up where you're gonna like get to know someone by being like, I have to buy a gift for someone I don't know, you know? And so I need to like go find out and learn all these things about them so that I get them something that they'll love, you know? I think that's probably the biggest, is where it's incredibly intentional, and like because you don't have that much time together, it has to be.
Question from the chat: how did Brett learn to play better mixed?
I think I've like been playing a lot of mixed, just like not in the like public space as much, because like I play a lot of mixed in Huntsville, and then like whenever we play mini, it's mixed. But I mean, I think also I got really lucky because at that, like with those caliber of players, it's like different, but it's also not that different, because like they're all going to be able to hit the same windows. It's like not, it's just, you know, it's really not that different. I think the biggest thing that's different and it's hard to learn as like an MMP is like you're more isolated as a defender, where like you can't, you're not going to like get help if you like commit super hard to an under and then they turn it. Like you're just, they're good, they score, which is hard. So you have to like contain a little more sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I think I definitely think my past experience in Huntsville has helped a lot. Um, like I used to like practice with Space Force. Yeah.
Seems like the isolation probably wasn't as much of a problem for you if people never huck it against you.
Yeah, that's why I started doing it in mixes, because you just front and you just go, all right, this is how I'm gonna deal with this problem.
I think we got like time for 2 more from Reddit, which are kind of troll questions, but we'll go through them. And then one last question, and I think we'll kind of wrap it up here. So from Reddit, would he still be motivated to play Ultimate if a freak accident with a shrinking ray made him 75% of the size he is now?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like, I mean, like, yeah, I would certainly not be as good, right? But like, I still think I would be pretty good. I feel like my game knowledge is really high. That's how I think, at least, that I am. I have no idea, But yeah, I think that like, I could still do a lot of that stuff. I think, obviously my game would change. Like I would do less like, the dumb, I'm gonna just run deep as hard as I can cuts. But, at the end of the day, I think like it doesn't change. It changes a little bit of like my gravity on the field. But like I think like, I have to like figure out how to be a different type of thrower. But I think I'd hope I'd still like frisbee.
You would be under 5 feet tall.
Oh,
4.875 feet tall. Are you 6'6" right now?
yeah, I'm 6'5", but it's
Okay.
similar enough. Dang. I mean, yeah, the game would definitely really change then. I was thinking like, yeah, okay.
I bet you can make it work. Wait, I'm kind of curious on that note. So obviously, we've discussed some ways in which your height benefits you as an ultimate player. People are really scared to huck on you, and you're a good deep target on your own offense. How do you feel like there are ways in which your height hurts you, and do you ever wish that you were shorter?
In life or in
In frisbee,
okay.
in frisbee, or in life?
Yeah, I was like, sometimes I'm on a plane and I'm like,
Yeah,
man, this sucks.
yeah. I already feel like that, and I'm a few inches shorter than you, so
yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like.
I mean, I think like, no, not really. I think maybe I like have thought that in the past, but not now at all, because I think a lot about like, okay, what are my like biggest areas of weakness and how can I like improve at that and like use, because like, you think about like, like my weakest space would be like, it's like guarding a reset. And like why, like the way I'm using it now is I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like really shuffle well and like just take up a lot of space and make you like think about the fact that I'm like I'm big and my arms out there, rather than like, always like just being like clamped and glued to someone. So I don't know. I guess no.
Yeah, watching your Callahan video, it seems like you don't have any trouble guarding resets.
Last one from Reddit. Like I said, troll question. When people call you the fridge, are you imagining a double door or like a top and bottom? Bonus question, water in the door or just the absolute beater of a fridge that lives in the garage and only has beer and soda?
No, so it's I think it is more of the garage fridge. Like I'm thinking like single door, with like the freezer on top, like, but like, I mean, I guess we've done the celebration where somebody opens it up and takes the milk out. So maybe it's not so much the garage one as I thought,
I didn't even know this was a nickname for you.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't even remember where it started, but somebody said it in like a UFA thing, and then like we started saying it last year in Colorado. It was kind of fun.
Do you have any other nicknames?
The like hustle announcer calls me the Watchtower. I'm not super sold on that one. Otherwise, no, not really.
Someone in the YouTube chat said he has more ready for the fridge question than any other question. That's good. Manny, do you have any other questions before I get to the last question?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. Brett, last question I ask everybody. So we asked a lot of questions, you had a lot of answers, right? But I'm always curious in like, what's the question that you don't have the answer to yet, right? Like, my thing is like, what keeps LeBron up at night thinking about basketball, right? So like for you, what's the thing that keeps you up thinking about?
Great timing for this. Sorry to interrupt a little there, but it's just the perfect timing after like we kind of had a like harder like weekend at US Open where we like lost like basically like our 2 games to make it to quarters, where like, we were up 13-11 in both of those games. Yeah, I think like the thing I think about a lot is just the like, how like how do I like be the player that like not just gets us to that point, but like, gets to the point where we never lose that game. Like how like what do I have to be as a player to like never lose those games? Which is probably impossible, right? I mean, that would be the greatest athlete of all time. But I mean, that's the thing that I think about, and I've been thinking about. I was thinking about it Friday night. I've been thinking about it all weekend of like, how do I push myself to like make like be 100% sure.
I like it. Yeah, Manny, if nothing else, Brett, we appreciate your time. Any final thoughts, comments, anything you want to put out there?
No, I mean, we got our game Friday. I think it's free on YouTube, but otherwise,
Here we go.
Good luck in that.
Yeah, good luck.
thanks.
growlers, right?
Yep.
Right on. Cool. Well, yeah, Brett, thanks again.
Think so.